While there are many terms and acronyms within the world of music that are vitally important, one of the oldest and perhaps least understood is a small non-profit group that most people know as Ascap. Founded all the way back in 1914, Ascap actually stands for the American Society of Composers, Authors, and Publishing. At its most basic, Ascap collects licensing fees on behalf of the artists that it represents, and then it distributes the royalties back to the artists in question. This basically makes them a middleman, so that when a radio station or a TV station plays a song, the company pays Ascap as opposed to having to pay the artist directly. The company was founded by composer Victor Herbert in New York City, as he wanted to protect the copyrights of writers who were associated with what we now call Tin Pan Alley. And amongst its earliest members, Ascap had on their roll people like John Philip Sousa, Irving Berlin, and James Weldon. As radio became popular throughout the 1920s, early arrangements had musicians only performing live, and they were rarely, if ever, paid for their performances. However, Ascap was one of the biggest forces behind this change, and before the 1930s were out, artists being paid for their performances and using previously recorded performances was the industry standard. Also, throughout the 1930s and 40s, Ascap expanded its membership beyond just the traditional idea of composers, bringing in tons of people with big names like Louis Armstrong and Fats Waller, and even members from other styles and genres like Gene Autry and Jimmy Rogers. In the late 1930s, though, the US Justice Department sued Ascap under the Sherman antitrust laws, and after they gave up that lawsuit, they sued them successfully again in 1941. After the latter case was won by the government, artists had far more pull in the negotiating process than before, and it also forced Ascap to standardize their licensing rates. Between the two lawsuits, and really the reason why the second lawsuit came to be, was the famous Ascap boycott of 1940. The boycott lasted nearly 11 months, and during that time, none of the more than million songs that Ascap represented could be heard on radio airwaves. And it's during this time that one of the biggest Ascap rivals, BMI, or Broadcast Music Incorporated, was founded. After the lawsuit was settled and the boycott ended, Ascap decided to expand their artists even further, bringing the likes of Duke Ellington and Cole Porter, and even legendary composers like Stravinsky and Leonard Bernstein registered their music with Ascap. As television rose in the 50s and 60s, it presented a brand new revenue stream for musicians. And once FM radio broke through, the money through Ascap was fast and furious. Most of the biggest artists of the 60s and 70s like Jimi Hendrix, the Rolling Stones, Marvin Gaye, and Stevie Wonder all licensed their music through Ascap, as did a very little known band known as the Beatles. Over the past few decades, everyone from Slayer to the Ramones to Dr. Dre have registered their music under the Ascap name, and there's quite literally no genre of music that the company doesn't represent. In modern day, Ascap may very well be the largest performance rights organization in the world, and over the decades they've developed benefits like insurance discounts and credit unions to help support their members. Though they've certainly seen their share of controversy over the decades, there's no question that without the presence of Ascap, the world of popular music would never have progressed in the way that it did.